Studies at Brooklyn College and the Graduate Center of the City University of New York, and author of Sex Is As Sex Does, Governing Transgender Identity. Yeah, Paisley Curra.
The legislation that they've passed doesn't really speak to any particular problems. Like the legislation that they passed might be described as like a solution in search of a problem. The legislation covers, school and college participation in sports. And when it comes to like elite sports, that's already governed by the whatever sports associations. They have their own policies and they're working through policies on transgender participation. So it's not necessary for legislatures to weigh in on that. This legislation is really targeting like middle school and high school kids at the non-elite level, and that is where it really just part of enrolling transgender people in the culture wars to create problems where none exist.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen.
Now, live from Chicago, the Hal Sparks radio program mega worldwide.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
Hal Sparks, actor, comedian, and multimedia personality.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Hal Sparks.
All right, let's do this.
Well, hello and happy No Kings Saturday for all that celebrate. I'm going to be speaking at the Elk Grove Village one this afternoon. I'm very excited, but I'm not as excited about that as I am to be in studio with Johnny Million again. Oh my God, it's so fun! And we were both handed donuts right before we came on, and.
I just scanned it with my little meal scanner, and it said it's a donut hole. So I'm like, yeah, this is just a donut hole.
That's a donut hole. Yeah. It looks like a road apple is what it looks like.
Hey now.
I'm like, where'd you find that in a parade?
You just got to follow real close.
That's right. Yeah, you want to get the good ones.
Sometimes they're still steaming.
people will scoop them up. Yeah. You won't get away with it.
I had a late show last night and got in very late.
Right.
I got to bed around 1:30, slept about 4 hours. Hal on the other hand.
Yeah, I red-eyed in last night. My flight was at midnight. It was supposed to be at 11:49 actually.
11:45.
Yeah. And it got bumped because our plane coming in, because of all the shenanigans that are going on in the airports, got bumped, and my flight finally took off around 1:45. Yeah, so I got in this morning at 6 a.m. On a 3-hour flight, 3 and change or whatever, 3.5. Yeah. And so you lose 2 hours while losing sleep.
Oh, yeah.
And I was telling Johnny as I came in that my the person in the seat next to me was a cliche version of a middle seat passenger.
Proceed with caution.
Yes, yeah. And I will
when Hal and I talk, we are not cool.
We're very frank.
Yeah.
I will just say this part. I don't take up a lot of room. Lucky for me. I could sleep in the overhead storage bins if I just curl myself up, right? It wasn't so much the kind of things you always think of as a nightmare sitcom, planes, trains, and automobiles idea of close sitters.
Okay.
It was the fact that her Ozempic shot was in my little magazine holder in my seat when I sat down.
Used because he tried sucking out the
Yeah, at the end I was like, I'm gonna get rid of that last 3 pounds. No, it was because the cap was off.
Oh my!
And it
God.
has a needle point. It was just in the thing, and I was like, oh dear. So I had to, not only did I have to squinch up one direction, I had to pull my knees close to my body lest I fall asleep and my knee, jams into it was quite curious. You know what? There's a joke that's been going through my head. One of some people may know it as Steve Martin's only political joke.
Oh.
And it's in the movie Roxanne.
Love that movie.
Wrote 27 drafts of that movie. Yeah, right. Older ladies, because they really know what they're doing. Oh, we do. And it's really a very philosophical political joke, I believe.
Okay.
In that he is, at one point, walking down the street whistling, just to himself, really happy. He takes a quarter out of his pocket. He walks over to the magazine machine, the newspaper machine. He puts a quarter in it, opens it up, takes the newspaper out, walks about 3 steps, looks at the paper, and goes, ah, 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 just starts screaming at whatever's on the headline. Ah, he takes another quarter out, puts it in the machine, throws the newspaper back in, and then walks back down the street whistling. It's like a little Far Side that he created. It's this. That sums up our current news cycle better than anything I could come up with.
I really hate it. I hate it a lot.
It's pretty awful. But I would also like to say, if I may, I spend my days on my show going after the maggot loyalists and the fringe of the Trump supporters and the cult that clearly is around him. But they were a incredibly predictable group of people who were going to show up to vote for him. And they were, in their numbers, steel-spined to come out and vote for him. Now, that might not be the case this time around because I think he has gone too far. However, in the election where our first woman of color was running, a bunch of folks that are allegedly on our side, left-leaning independents and even rank-and-file Democrats, because of some illusion they were fed by media on our side or their own kind of
a combination of purity tests and Gaza is Biden's fault.
That's right. Yeah. That those folks stayed home and handed Donald Trump this presidency. OK, under, I guess, the insane illusion equal to the cultish nature of maggots, that he would somehow be better for Gaza, the world peace, prices, education, medicine,
economy,
healthcare, right? Literally, this it can't be that bad. First of all, we had him last time, and it
was that bad.
He cocked up the COVID situation so badly when he could have, quite frankly, I believe, skated to re-election, really given Joe Biden a run for his money if he had just been able to. And again, this is the crucial part. Act like a normal person, but he's incapable.
But he was led by his hatred for Obama and undoing everything that he'd established.
That's right. And so, and I would argue that we are in Iran now because of that as well. Yeah. Just undoing the Iran deal to spite Obama is the reason we are in that war. It is not because Israel was going to strike and we had to strike first, or they whispered in his ear and told him to. And I love how the fallback defense, and I don't want to get too distracted on this because this is specific, but I love the fallback defense on Trump's followers' part is that Netanyahu called him 7 times. He visited the White House. And so Trump just had to do this, like he was hypnotized. And I'm like, if he's that dough-brained, why in the world do you trust him to make any decisions?
Yeah, I saw someone in Congress say that Netanyahu's been waiting for a president this stupid.
Well, that's probably someone on our side, I guess. But over, on the right, the defense of him, by the people, by the way, who are most critical of this right now, is that Trump just, he doesn't like war. He likes ending wars. Yeah, and he just didn't want to do this. But, I mean, the pressure and like Netanyahu was calling him like, he calls 7 times, you hang up 7 times. Yeah. I don't understand why that's the excuse.
And now he's like, well, people die.
Yeah, people die in wars, and that's just part of the thing. It's how it works and stuff.
People are going to die in wars. They're heroes.
That's right.
Heroes.
Die like a hero and don't get captured, because I don't consider those people heroes.
Those are losers.
Right. So the folks on our side are my biggest concern, because we are not going to move the maggots that are stuck with him forever, the 100% that CNN found in their 36% of Republicans that are going to lock in. We're not talking to them. Right. That would be what Hillary Clinton referred to as the basket of deplorables. She was saying there's Republicans and then there are these folks. And these folks over here are the basket of deplorables. They're racist, bigoted, sexist, anti-gay, anti-trans,
internalized misogyny.
All that stuff. And then there are Republicans that you may disagree with, but are there because through diluted ideas or entrenched belief systems and philosophies, they're there to actually work stuff out. They just have a different idea of how to work things out, and that's what a democracy is for. It's one of the problems with having fighters in Congress instead of on the streets and metaphorically speaking, people who get up every day and go out and do like no kings today. The people who are in Congress are there to work it out. They are there not to fight. Democracy was created so we would stop fighting. Most of our fights in the world were settled over time by fighting up till this point. Democracy and having a representative government was so that we could all get together and the best ideas would win.
Right.
A lot of Republicans, have sort of checked out on that idea because they're afraid of Trump or what have you. But a lot of Democratic voters are looking for somebody who can come down and yell in the minority and lose loudly. Yeah. And that isn't going to do it. We have one job. The No Kings rally today, the primary job of the DNC going forward will be turn red districts purple, purple districts blue. That's it. You don't get any points for making a blue area bluer. It's not going to make a difference in the number of votes, and the number of votes is what we need, or it won't change a thing. Period. Nice. And if I hear another person who's not in Pennsylvania complain about Fetterman, that's exactly the problem. If you're in Pennsylvania and you can rearrange that seat and you've got the votes and the person to replace him will actually get that, and that's in two more.
Make me really mad.
And that's in 2 years. He's not up for another 2 years.
That guy.
I know, but it's again, it's an immeasurable. It's not even part of the equation right now. It is not part of the equation. You're not going to change Fetterman. The only way you're going to shift things is if your senator is up and you've got a chance of either turning that seat blue or scaring the Republican in there to realize he's got to represent everybody or he's going out the next time. Those are your only possibilities.
Trump is kind of doing a good job of that.
He's doing a great job of that. And I have a little quote I want to play when we come back from one of his cabinet members, I guess his advisors from the DOW, that it was on a British news show. Oh, my God. On this British news show that when you... I don't want people to think that it's just 4 dumb people in the cabinet. People tend to think that right now. And then, minus Kristi Noem. It used to be 5. Now it's minus Kristi Noem or something. They're all idiots, including Marco Rubio. But every substrate of it, every secondary person, every, the Joe Kents that he put in behind Tulsi Gabbard, every person in a third position are equally as cheerleadery dumb and can't wait to get to the table to praise him to no end. We'll be back right after this. It's the Hal Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide at WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk.
Out Chicago.
How are you doing,
I am
Ellen Miller?
immersing myself in as many positive experiences, i.e. theater, music, whatever I can do.
Look, I keep going back to doing your joy homework.
Yes.
During this point, joy is a practice. And you have to actively seek out the things that bring you joy.
Catch Out Chicago every Sunday, 11 to 1 on WCPT 820.
Menards has all the tools and fasteners you need to finish your home improvement project. Whether you need standard nails for general construction or specialty nails for specific applications, you'll find them here. New Fast collated nails are made in the USA with the highest quality steel. Check out our entire selection of New Fast collated nails and view our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Save big money at Menards.
If you have ever thought about remodeling your bathroom but were worried it would take too long or cost too much, then stop worrying. Right now, Jacuzzi Bath Remodel has designed a collection of high-quality custom products and perfected the one-day remodeling experience so you can enjoy your new bathroom faster than ever before. It's a worry-free bath remodel from the most trusted brand name in the business, Jacuzzi. For a virtual or in-home appointment, call 800-826-9895. That's 800-826-9895. 800-826-9895.
WCPT 820, Chicago's Progressive Talk, where facts matter.
This is Tom Hartman, and you're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide on Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT.
One of Trump's advisors, literally on his council advisors around the DOW that he put in there, based on, I don't know what, they go to Paula White's church. It's hard to say. I don't know what honest to God, I don't know why this woman is on, what the decision making, what was the matrix, what box she checked ultimately that was other than how, well, it might just be this. I'm going to play a moment. She's on a British television show.
Okay.
And they're talking about why Trump is looking ahead, and he he knew everything was going to happen the way it is. The Strait of Hormuz was going to be closed down. He knew, okay. And so the host asks a question.
Why is he being forced, in what some commentators are saying in a rather humiliating fashion, to ask for allies who he has spent the last couple of weeks insulting, including the UK and our Prime Minister, asking his allies to go and help him keep the straits open? If he's that much of a three-dimensional chess player, why is he being forced to ask his allies for help?
Actually plays chess on a 5D.
Oh, nice.
And
sorry.
Okay, that's it. That's like the fact that this woman is actually using the 5D chess argument, which is now become an insult among maggots who are breaking away from him towards the other ones who are still buying his BS.
That's like, is it 5D?
Yeah, right.
now?
I guess this must be a 5D chess move, which, by the way, 3D chess is actually how chess is played. I would like to say, yes, it's on a two-dimensional board, but it moves in such a way that the characters themselves matter in space-time. So so I don't know what, like, parallel dimension, non-temporal alien being idea.
I guess you can play 2D chess like on a computer.
Yes, you can. Yeah. You absolutely can. Yeah. Well, and that's the whole point, is that you're limited in moves. You don't actually need the characters themselves. But everybody, when you're playing actual chess, is looking at it in 3 dimensions. And certainly you're not looking at it from outside of space and time. Like, and the fact that she's you can tell she is simply just who do we have to send on this show to say the same insane cultish garbage.
And Dr. Strange wouldn't do it.
That's right. Yeah, he wouldn't warp the skyline back onto itself and do the spinny, fiery, circly thing. So the new reasoning, which this woman brought up for why, because the question has been, didn't he run on no new wars?
No.
Didn't he run on getting us out of the Middle East? Didn't he run on no more regime change? Well, guess what, kids? Guess what? Regime change that's an accidental element of this, because this war is actually him fulfilling a promise.
Oh my, what's that promise?
Ending wars. Their argument now,
he started a war to end wars?
No, he didn't start it. They're arguing that this war has been going on for 47 years. You know that since that, I'm dead serious, that they are considering, from his point of view, that the United States has been at war with Iran for 47 years, and that he's going to end it. So he's keeping a promise by starting this operation, which will be the final one in a forever war that he is bringing to a close.
He's saying that the Iran thing, the hostages in 79 is when it started.
Was a declaration of war by the Iranians, and we're finally finishing it. That it's been a slow burn war.
Thank God he's here to help.
Right. That is now. I mean, the shifting excuse board, has been amazing. It's been all over the place. But that is now, they have been testing the waters on that argument, and this woman made that argument on this British show, almost like they're using, fringe test markets, like a new toy that they're not sure will sell in the big markets. So I'm
here to tell you that's the best one yet.
Yeah. I mean, it's insane.
Yeah, it's insane, but it's the best one yet.
It absolutely is. And so, and he thinks that, he's finished other wars by threat and by tariffs and the like, and this one just required bombings, a lot of bombings. And
Far too many school children there.
Yeah. So get ready to hear that more often from the Trumpies that are out on Fox and all that kind of stuff. They are road testing this on the fringes to see if it catches on. And I guarantee within the week, because this is the first time I've heard it, was over this, like the last 2 days, that you're going to start hearing, seeing on Twitter and other sites, like people like Cat Turd and all the, the Trump booster sites, they're going to start floating this, that actually he's ending this war. That Iran, in their Death to America stuff, has been declaring war on us over and over and over again for 47 years. They already are at war with us. Now we're responding, right? and nobody else had the guts to do it. That is how they're going to sell this.
So, and they're just pretending that the entire agreement where we were inspecting their nuclear sites never existed, that we went there and
yeah, that peace was never struck, and that they never meant it, and they were always building a bomb, even though we know they weren't. Even though his own people said they weren't, even though because
like it works until you like. My international understanding of global politics is meager, and I know that. Yeah,
we had
we had to deal with Iran about nukes.
And again, we also all know that the reason why he got rid of it was because it had Obama's name on it.
Yeah.
And he couldn't just lie about it the way he did with the VA Choice Act of 2014, which he lied about repeatedly on the campaign trail, saying he was the guy who signed it after 54 years and everybody wanted it.
He did that during the State of the Union. He was claiming all kinds of things.
Yeah, so if he can't take direct credit for it because he signs the regular congressional update to a lot of these things. One of the perfunctory jobs of the president is that you do have a lot of things to sign. It's one of the reasons why he absolutely uses an auto pen, and kind of gripes about the fact that he's not allowed to use the auto pen when he has to sign when they want to make a big show of it. Like, you think Joe Biden would have done this? Like, no, I don't think Joe Biden would do a mini episode of The Apprentice every time he signed an executive order.
And then holds up his dirty diaper.
Yeah, because it's an internal memo for your administration. It has nothing to do with the general public. It's just, and it doesn't even, it doesn't create a new law. It doesn't redirect funding unless that funding already had a slush fund attached to it, so that you have some room to move. There's already a part of the budget the administration has that they can prioritize. I would argue that increasingly Congress raised that amount because they would contract it around Democrats and expand it around Republicans. During Bush, they did it. Bush 1, they did it. Certainly during Reagan, they would expand because they like this supreme executive power of the presidency. But when a Democrat's in, they want to contract it as much as possible and control it.
Off.
Everything they spend, anything that isn't directly written, is them being corrupt and criminal and blah, blah, blah. So get ready to hear that over and over again, that he's actually finishing a war that Iran declared on us 47 years ago. And he's going to pat himself on the back for this. And by the way, that means he can stay in as long as he wants, because no matter how long it lasts, if it's 6 months, 10 months, a year, 2 years, whatever he thinks his window is, or if he gets out in July and has to go back in December, which is probably the kind of thing they're looking at, he can declare, I ended a 47-year war. It's the same talk he's been using around, the Congo and Rwanda.
Doesn't it seem like it'll only land with the ding-dongs, though?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. But he needs the ding-dongs to show up and vote. He's seeking, Johnny Million, for the ding-dong vote. That's all he's got. He's just got the ding-dongs.
Oh, so he's got to shore up the ding-dong vote because he's been screwing it.
Yeah, that's right. This is all about shoring up the ding-dong vote.
The ding-dong. You know what's wild is that they go to England or Ireland to do these other talk shows, like you said, like there was a testing. And do they ever go, did you know that we arrest pedophiles over here?
Yeah, right.
Like, it doesn't seem like safe ground.
I'm curious, while we've still got you on the line, is there a reason that it seems impossible for you to arrest a pedophile who has a net worth of over $65? Hello?
Yeah.
We seem to have lost them. We'll try to get them back in the next segment, but they seem to have... You don't have to trash the studio. I can still see you on the feed. Swine.
That's exactly it.
That's exactly it. And we will, lately, it has been hard to pick which is the biggest reason that Donald Trump started this war to distract from. What is the biggest element that he's trying to distract from? Epstein, the economy.
I heard that he thought it would just help him in the polls.
Well, yeah, and machismo. Yeah,
right.
But that you can always count on people to just snap to and get jingoistic.
Support the troops.
Well, the problem is that will only happen, God help us, if there is a strike on American soil of magnitude. If it's just a guy shooting up a bar in Austin, it's not going to do it.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who blows themselves up or drives a car through a parade or something like that, that type of stuff is what he's hoping, I think, will occur between now and the election.
He definitely hopes
I was
for
right.
that.
Yeah, because short of that,
he wants to be a martyr more than a Christian does.
Well, he doesn't want. He wants to have other people martyred in his name.
Yeah, he wants to represent the martyr.
He just had we got to take a break, but he just had a gathering with like this future investment forum that was like the Saudis were there. This is absurd, like
cool.
Yeah, in Miami of all places.
Yeah,
our other capital. We'll be back right after this.
Choose Views with Richard Chew.
I try to always put things as best I can in the positive light, even when I'm bringing the sledgehammer to the conversation, so that we can build up things that are going to be good for all of us. And so that's why sometimes will hear me say, you got to bring a sledgehammer to the party. Not literally, but bring a sledgehammer of thoughts and ideas so that ours don't die. We get to tear down theirs and build ours up.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Find power and prestige in a brand new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2026 Porsche Macan Electric. Right now, lease the 2026 Macan Electric for only $1049 a month for 39 months. Discover performance like no other when you visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $9,999 with sign up for qualified buyers. Excludes tax, title, license, and dock fee. No security deposit required. Expires 3/31/26.
When it comes to banking, you need a bank you can trust. A bank with a rock-solid reputation and the highest integrity. A bank that gives you the attention and respect you deserve.
ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922, and we've made our name on deep expertise, best-in-class service, and a strong commitment to our customers. We know the Chicago business market inside and out and can help you craft the perfect banking solution, no matter what type of business you're in.
And if you're looking for a banking partner for your labor union, we can bring the type of expertise that only comes from a bank that was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders to this day.
Whether you need a deposit account, loan, trust services, or investment management, ABOC has you covered. Let's work together to
WCPT Replay.
Joining us now on the phone is gay icon's living legend, John Waters. Your body of work has shaped the lives of so many people. Like, even this morning, my neighbor was texting me. She's like, please tell him the Crybaby was my gay awakening.
Funny, because there's no gay characters in Crybaby.
I know. But there's something about, like, your movies, the embracing of camp, the embracing of tacky, the just all-out, just queer counterculture nature. Do you ever feel a responsibility for lifting the voice of the counterculture?
Well, I'm proud of it when people say that, I made them feel okay about themselves. And I wrote a whole book called Role Models about the people that did that for me. Yeah. Everybody needs a bad influence they can look up to.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
This is WCPT 820, where facts matter.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
There are times when you feel like you're living in a time loop, in a cul-de-sac of history. They often will say, those who do not know history are doomed to repeat it. Yes. We hear this often. Yep. And I would argue that most of the time people who are saying that do not realize they are still in that historical window. The reason you're doomed to repeat it is because that has not actually finished, that there are still people from the other side that hold a grudge, that would love to make a comeback. I would say this applies even to World War II. Yeah. So clearly. So one of the things that we recall from, the wonderful Maggotry playbook of old is Colin Powell showing up with some yellow cake. Right, his little, right, and right now we're being haunted by the ghost of Colin Powell, who is, famously bringing out this little vial of radioactive dust, as Trump calls it, and holding it up at the UN, saying they're this close and what have you. Yellow cake has now entered the chat on Iran. nuclear sites have been hit inside Iran. Israel carried out major airstrikes on Iran's nuclear facilities late Thursday, early Friday, targeting the Shahid Konbab heavy water complex near Iraq and the Artican yellow cake processing plant in Yazd. So this is apparently where they have all their nuclear stuff that they no longer have. Remember the place we obliterated? Thankfully, Israel just re-obliterated it.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that would be, other than to bury it further underground so that we can never dig it up.
You know, you can dig that stuff. you can hear him like, so you can go
dig
down.
that. Yeah, you can dig that stuff up, and I'm like, what are we going to send in ground troops with shovels?
Yeah.
Is that like? So that is now part of the conversation. Again, watch for these as this thing grinds on, because we have idiots in charge who thought this would just be a chest beat like Venezuela. We are going to continue. They're going to play the favorites. They're going to play the hits. They're just going to go back to whatever worked that managed to get like Bush reelected over Kerry, who was, by the way, the guy who was famously after Vietnam saying, how do you ask a person to be the last man to die for a lie about Vietnam? You know, fought in Vietnam, got a Purple Heart because he was wounded. Then what did Republicans do then? You remember what Republicans did when John Kerry was running at their convention?
They came up with a whole scandal. They found like some disgruntled person from...
They swift-boated him, which they famously called it. But the biggest thing they did was this stunt. They all wore purple Band-Aids. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah, they all, at the Republican National Convention, they mocked his Purple Heart by wearing purple Band-Aids.
Adorable.
Which, by the way, mocks everyone who got a Purple Heart. Right.
Yeah.
And so that should have been your first sign, or among many, I guess. But it should have been the last necessary sign. Let's put it that way.
Why were we surprised when they put on the goofy ear bandages?
Right. Or why did you think they were okay with him saying John McCain wasn't a hero because I like hero? He's considered a hero because he was captured.
I really thought that was the end of him. I really did.
He attacked Gold Star families, all that stuff. Anything that would have ruined anybody else, which just shows you that the pathology around like a huge swath of the Republican voters and the story that they have been told about Democrats, which is, again, the only part we have a part to play in. And where if they can hijack our message, that's our fault.
Yeah.
That's our responsibility, I would say. That's a better way to phrase it. So there is a key element of this group that will just throw whatever pretend ethics. Back the Blue obviously died on January 6th. Support the troops obviously goes out the window after he says John McCain is not a hero. They mock John Kerry's service and his Purple Heart. It should have been a sign. And this, by the way, is, Exhibit Z in my argument that Donald Trump is not special. He is a typical Republican president. There is nothing different about him. His tax cut,
He has a more ironclad separation between his humanity and his id. He can erase any conscious thought, anything that would help you not sleep at night, he can rationalize it like that.
Well, I would argue that that's been there all along, since Reagan at least, if not Nixon, because Reagan had a similar issue. He was just a better performer
he was so
to the
much
public.
Better at it.
He could pretend to be grandpa. He had that grandfatherly attitude that sold it.
He'd go talk to his horoscope.
Right, his wife, who would read his, get a psychic to come in and tell him what decisions he would make. And again, I've told this story before, but he entered primary dementia his second term in office. The first year, he was going to have dementia. There was no question about it because of his age and all this other stuff. But it was foreshortened the time that he would get that by being wounded when he was shot in his first term, and that blood loss and that trauma shortened the distance between. It took about 10 years off of his life, and brought that closer, which is obviously Dennis Leary's biggest problem. Was he was always like, it takes 10 years off your life smoking, but it's the last 10, those suck or whatever. Like, no, it doesn't. It keeps those 10 and brings them closer. It shaves 10 out of the middle. That's the problem. So joke died for me there, but whatever. I'm not here to nitpick that part of it. But Reagan, very similar. Look at how he talked about AIDS, and so much so that they had to get him like
He
pose.
was very much the predecessor to Trump. When people say we've never seen anything like this,
We absolutely have.
It just wasn't covered the same way.
Right. And there wasn't access to it in this. I mean, look at the absurdity of Iran-Contra. And the fact that, by the way, he negotiated with the Iranians during the hostage crisis through George H.W. Bush, who Jimmy Carter fired as the head of the CIA because of what they had been doing all during the late 60s, early 70s around Vietnam and Cambodia and all this other stuff. Put new limits on it, which is why everybody came after him, why they dirtied his legacy as best they could for decades, saying he was a terrible president and all this stuff. Why everybody bought into it, this sort of silly country bumpkin and a weak man, which he absolutely was not. I would remind everybody that he saved Canada from a nuclear, explosion by going into a reactor that was failing. The guy urinated radioactive material for 6 months after doing that.
Say that was how he did it. He
peed it out like a fire.
Just like
I wouldn't put it past
Rick Moranis and
but
Strange
part of the thing about him was that he scheduled all that. Like, he came up with the game plan for how these guys would, maintain their ability. They would work in shifts so that they wouldn't get a dose of radiation that would kill each one of them. So they worked it out to the second. And Carter was the one who put that together. So he had a very good strategic mind. He was a caring human being.
Like, they're idiots, let them die.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what they're there to do, right? Yeah. That's what they're there for. So Trump is very much like Reagan. Same kind of tax cut ideology, same kind of like hierarchical, hyper masculine macho BS, same kind of covert and feathering of your nest and building your legacy on war and covert ops. And George H.W. Bush very much was that kind of id separation,
right,
that Reagan relied on, in the same way that Cheney Bush was. Dick Cheney was responsible for all the insectile aspects of that presidency, but George W. Bush was the delivery system for it. And they were both seeking the exact same thing through Bill Barr, a regime instead of an administration. They sought that out. And how do you do that? Well, you accuse the other side of being a regime the whole time, and then you get in and act like one. You use the AUMF after 9/11 to sprawl and pick up PNAC trophies that you've left in the desert that you've wanted for a long time, like Iraq. And Donald Trump is simply fulfilling the PNAC plan from the mid-'90s that George H.W. Bush's administration helped to craft. He's not special. And that's going to be the hardest thing, and probably the worst thing you can say to maggots about him, and the hardest thing for them to recognize. But when they do, that, and by the way, some of them seem to be waking up to that idea right now, is that he was going to be different, right? Yeah. He was going to end these wars. No more regime wars. No more forever wars. No more wars in the Middle East period. Getting us not the policemen of the world, And none of that is true, because Trump always thought that was one of the coolest parts of being the president. Was that
he loves the military.
Yeah. And for two big reasons. One is it can cover for your own personal lack of masculinity and your ego weakness around that fact.
So people can call him dear leader.
Exactly right. So they can have a Kim Jong-un moment where he would really envied that when he would talk about
he loved it.
Even just Bastille Day in France, like he got excited, or Putin's parades and stuff. He's like, why don't we have those? Because they're stupid. That's why. They're ridiculous.
They're horrible.
Yeah. Not only and the potholes. Anyways, don't get me started. Your tax dollars at work. We're making potholes now. I mean, it's bad enough we're not filling them. Yeah. So it is, that part. And I would argue that it is a great hustle. If you know when this war is going to start, when you're going to make statements on it, and how those statements will affect the market, you can buy and sell stuff. Your buddies can buy and sell stuff. Howard,
he did it this week.
Exactly. Nutlick and all those guys in his cabinet can all on the side, because there's no law that's been passed that controls their ability to. And they've all got, by the way, shell companies and all this other stuff, because these guys are billionaires already. And Besant literally made all of his money working for George Soros, basically shorting the British pound almost crashing their economy just to make money off of that. That's how Soros got rich.
Oy vey.
Is basically putting British people out of their homes. And you can argue that either he's been trying to make up for it by doing good works in the rest of his life, or that's just cover so that he can, his family doesn't have to have this albatross around their neck the rest of their lives because they're thought of as being very left-leaning or what have you. And it's a great way to cover for it, and it doesn't cost you much.
Yeah.
You can drop if you have a net worth, I'm sorry, but if you got a net worth of $8 to $10 billion, $25 million to leftist causes that buys you onto the team.
Yeah.
It's like one of those like really rich dudes who liked a band that retired.
Yeah, they bring him back.
And and the guy plays bass, but he's like, I'll bring the band back if you let me play bass.
Yeah.
That's what this is. That's what Soros is. And didn't
Huckabee play bass with somebody?
Yeah, I think he's
like Ted Nugent.
Yes, he did. He played bass with Ted Nugent. So it wasn't hard. I think that's the important part. Yeah, right. You can do that with one string.
Yeah, do stranglehold.
Right. Yeah. This is and we'll get started on Huckabee after the next bit, I suppose.
He looks good.
He looks great. He really does. And he's well liked by Tucker Carlson and that crowd right now. It's really nice. He's probably the best guy we've had representing us in the Middle East, especially in Israel, in a long time. I mean, those are choppy waters, and he's managed to smooth them out like glass. That whole thing about Israel basically owns all of it. That Israel is the Germany of 1935 in the Middle East, and that Jordan is basically, part of Israel already, right? So that worked really well. That was very calming. We'll be back right after this. It's the HouseWorks radio program, Mega Worldwide on WCPT Radio, Chicago's Progressive Talk, Infowars.com. Infotainment Wars will take you straight to my website. Infowars is going away. That's what I was going to bring up in the next thing. Yeah. According to Alex Jones. Aww.
Think Theory Radio.
Theoretical astrophysicist Dan Hooper.
If there's someplace a light year away from now, there's nothing I can do now that can influence that place in less than a year. No matter what I do, no matter how I build my quantum machine, or no matter what I entangle or what I quantum teleport, nothing I can do here can affect that until a full year has passed, allowing light to get there at the speed of light.
Think Theory Radio with Damian Perdue. Saturdays at 6 p.m. on WCPT 820.
If a baby is giggling in the back seat, they're probably happy. If a baby is crying in the back seat, they're probably hungry. But if a baby is sleeping in the back seat, will you remember they're even there? When you're distracted, stressed, or not usually the one who drives them, the chances of forgetting them in the back seat are much higher. It can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot fast and can be deadly. So get in the habit of checking the back seat when you leave. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
WCPT Replay.
Jamie Harrison is a treasure.
I hope the American people stand up and speak out in a way that we've never seen before. So that they send a strong message to folks, and particularly, I don't really give a damn the message that it goes to Donald Trump. I want the message to be sent to the feckless Republicans that you see in Congress, the ones who talk a great game, but in the end of the day, who have been as pliable as a string in the wind. I mean, these folks are just, Mike Johnson's, the Thunes of the world.
Yeah, you want to send them a message. I want them beaten.
Yes.
I want them out.
Well, that's the message that I want. I want to wipe them out, wipe them out of the Congress.
Keep listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
You're listening to WCPT 820 because facts matter.
Now let's get back with Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Oh my God, it's such a Chicago day in here. I'm so excited. Yeah, Rob Glenn has joined us in studio. Root Design in Chicago, and also my my partner in I guess Thought Crime on Friday on my live stream where we talk about AI stuff, and he and I get into long form philosophical discussions about stuff while everybody in the back is going, I don't know how prompting works. Can you tell me how to make a picture of my butt? It's such a divergence, but and also I can finally see our chat on the live stream, which is great. And hi everybody, welcome. We do have some apparently some trolls showing up, which is great because these are the day because they're going to be out in force. That they've paid extra bots for today. Mm-hmm. They're gonna nobody's there. Those kind of things, like really low res ones, or whatever. And now. And thankfully Rob is here, like he can explain to us exactly how easy it is to set up an AI agent that will just be your bot online. It was always easy to set up a chat bot, but now you can have one that administers hundreds of them, if not thousands.
I just did it this morning.
Oh, I can't hear your mic. So is he? You what?
I just made one this morning.
Oh, you did?
Not to go out, it stays inside.
Right. Yeah, you got an internal bot that go work on the company. Yeah. Rob and I have been talking a lot on the show about how we've been playing with all the AI tools for good. For now until the time comes we have to take over.
And then you pull that the little plastic thing that
covers a battery. Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Get him, Elephant Man.
Get him, Elephant Man.
Right. So this is a long.
It's a long story.
It's a long story. Anyways, so hey, CSL, good to see you. Andrea, thank you guys for being with us today as well.
It was a surprise. Andrea had no idea we were in the studio. She's sending me the links to the eCam and everything.
Yeah, I thought you knew, but then I got to say my life is in a blender right now.
Yeah.
So
I figured I should check with you first.
Yeah.
Mrs. Million and I were like, I bet Hal's going to be in the studio this weekend. Look, he's on this marquee right here.
Yeah, I'm on a flyer.
He's
but
on a poster.
Anything could happen right now. I'm on a couple of flyers coming up, and I have to take myself off of them because of the current unpleasantness. And I got to say, last night I flew in, and I have TSA pre and clear because I am a pathological flyer as a touring comedian and all these others. So anything that gets you through faster, I have signed up for
investment.
It. Yeah, it was weird giving a stool sample, but as long as it gets me on the plane,
I was willing to help.
I know you were. I'm like, they're gonna know it's from you.
No, I was just gonna help
not
get
that
it out.
big.
They don't call me hook finger for nothing.
Oh man, I hope not. I would hate there would be a reason behind that. That would
Chicago's progressive talk.
Right. So, Johnny brings us back down to earth. Oh. That's what he does. And Earth is largely a toilet.
Yeah,
right now. But there is, there's a lot going on just internally in the country, and people are flying around. They're having a hard time. There is I got through really quickly, like some grease through a 10-year-old goose, as the saying goes. And but there were definitely backups in O'Hare when I arrived. This morning in the morning was packed. And a lot of it had to do with diverted planes that didn't get there on time, backed up flights, and all this kind of stuff because of people not being able to get out of there. And I fly back tonight immediately. And I'm not looking forward to flying back through O'Hare, but I will report in. I'm probably right after the march. I'm going to have to, even though my flight's a little bit later, I'm basically going to have to go right to the airport and just in case.
Just camp out.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I mean, it's not like I'm being invited to dinner. I'm kidding.
The earlier you go, the less you'll have to wait.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's the law of inverse proportions, right? That it will, the Murphy's Law aspect of it. That you get there 3 hours ahead of time. I zip through for 15 minutes. You get there an hour ahead, and you're like, a 2-hour wait, right? Please be delayed. Please be delayed. Please be delayed. So, to bring everybody up, we're going to talk to Rob in the next hour because we're lucky to have him in studio, and Phil won't be with us because I can't pipe him in. When we're in studio here, it's just very difficult. So a couple of things. Washington this week put up this 15-point ceasefire plan in response to the 5-point plan from the Iranians, both of which are all poison pill all the time. Like, we've heard of legislation where they write something and they put this whole thing in and they're like, it's a big piece of legislation, and everybody's ready to vote for it. But the one of it is it says, we have to, no school lunches allowed. Starvation makes kids smarter. Therefore, not only are we not going to give them a free lunch at school, they're not allowed to bring one anymore, right? That'll be in there, so that it will kill the legislation. And if it doesn't, if it passes, you can run on, they voted to starve children on purpose, right? So that part of legislation has been well known over the years. And then, of course, you call that the Feeding Our Children's Future Bill. Feeding Our Future Children Act, and or the I Believe the Children Are Our Future Act. Thank you, Dion. And this is very similar. Both of them have plans that are absolutely ridiculous, that include in them obvious non-starters that they wouldn't agree to, but in many cases could not.
Right.
And certainly not in any short order. That wouldn't look like some sort of panic.
Your voting record will look ridiculous.
Right. Well, in this particular, in this 15-point plan from the Trump administration to the Iranians and the 5-point plan from the Iranians to us, there are so many absurdities in both sides that I have never felt a deeper kinship with the Iranian people than I have right now. That both our countries are led by psychotic, arrogant a-holes. That we are in the exact same boat.
We're in the middle of it.
We really are. Like the people of Iran, those that can even entertain or have the ability to entertain the idea that there are human beings in this country, like we entertain the idea that there are human beings in theirs. Right. I know it's a crazy idea, but I like it. That those folks, if they can at all understand, like we're having these No Kings rallies today, there are more of them. They've been increasing in number anyways, and I would argue they were going to increase because of a myriad of other things. Even if we hadn't gotten involved in this ridiculousness, there would still be plenty of reasons for this, especially ICE, the shootings of 2 American citizens, the bombings last year, the continuing corruption of the Trump administration.
Pedophilia.
Yes, right. And the Epstein file, chicanery, all that stuff. That even without that, there were going to be more. There are 3,100, which is 1 per county almost in the entire country. If not borderline 1-to-1, because I think there are some, like in municipalities in areas like Chicago and New York and other stuff.
And
there are multiple ones
in Cook County.
Right? Yeah, there's several because there's that many people.
I drove past one on the way here.
Right
in Schaumburg.
Right. So there's going to be many of those, and they all, like I got contacted by the Coachella Valley Democrats to speak at theirs this weekend, but I was already. Yeah. I mean, any excuse to come to Chicago. I got to be honest. It's just true. Whatever. But I was like, you guys need anything else that doesn't conflict with me going to Chicago? I'm in. But they're going to have one out there as well. Like, I mean, there's going to be one in Death Valley, which is particularly ironic, I guess, at this moment in time. But right now, these different, plans, neither one of them could be answered in any short order.
No.
And the only the only ability to get towards either of them working is if this became an Iraq or Afghanistan level drag where either side was in danger of full collapse. Now, the United States is not going to be in that situation. I know, I'm sorry to disappoint people. It's going to be brutally resilient in the face of this. And my big fear about the Iran war is not that it will be a failure right out of the gate. Is that it will be a short-term success, which will lead to a boost in, Trump and Hegseth thinking this is doable.
That was a good idea.
And grinding on about it or trying it elsewhere, doing it in Cuba, doing it in Colombia. And this is clearly part of the plan, is that Trump, always, never to be outdone and always adding a number. If something's 7, it'll be 9 by tomorrow. If it's 9, it'll be 12. Yeah. That's just how he works, because every number gets boring after a little while and doesn't sound shocking. So he's going to, if PNAC wanted 7 countries, he wants 9 or 11. Or 12.
Yeah, put that in a percentage, he gets real crazy.
Exactly, right.
1,700% more countries.
That's right. Yeah, we're up 1,700%, or, we're going to be cutting things 1,500% from where they were. Right. We owe, I don't know, right now I feel like I owe Pfizer drugs. I'm supposed to. I got to make them in my garage and give them back.
And they owe me a Doge check.
That's right.
Yeah,
you were going to get
a tariff
and
check?
a tariff check, right? Yeah, that was going to be about what, $5-6 grand, something like that.
One was 2, one was 5.
Rob is moving away from you, so I don't know what's going on with that.
The camera is kind of crazy. I'm looking at you and looking there.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's different.
So I was seeing if I could get you in the same angle.
Right. Yeah. It's very hard. Yeah. This is really set up like an interrogation chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah. The cameras are kind of straight on, which it's a good time. I just feel like I have this giant blue pillow in my face. That said. Right now, they've got this 15-point plan. Iran has rejected it and countered with its own 5-point plan, which one of the things it includes is all U.S. military bases in the Middle East must leave. That in and of itself, that's what, if you'll recall, what Osama bin Laden was looking for after 9/11.
Oh.
That was one of his big demands, if you'll recall. That's what he was, we're going to keep doing 9/11s until you guys do this.
Did he ask before he 9/11'd?
I think he griped about it. I don't think it was a specific ask. Why didn't you say exactly? Yeah. You were so passive-aggressive about it until
we could have avoided this whole thing.
Right, yeah. Just ask politely.
Yeah, so I can keep my shoes on at the airport.
Apparently, he did not know the magic word. We'll be back right after this. Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Driving it home with comedian and activist Patty Vasquez. Patty Vasquez, weeknights 5 to 7 on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. No Kings rallies and protests are kicking off today across the country and around the world. Organizers predict the demonstrations against President Trump and the Iran war will be the single largest nonviolent day of action in American history. Today's No Kings marches are planned in all 50 states with huge crowds expected in Minneapolis, Chicago, Los Angeles, and New York. Jennifer Polsoni is there.
Well, there will be a number of rallies across the 5 boroughs. Actor Robert De Niro, the Reverend Al Sharpton, and New York Attorney General Tish James scheduled speakers for the main rally in Midtown, where organizers expect some 20,000 people. In the past, the president has dismissed the demonstration, saying he's not a king and works hard to make the country great, calling the protests a joke.
12 U.S. service members have reportedly been injured in an Iranian missile strike at an airbase in Saudi Arabia. The New York Times said the missiles hit Prince Sultan Air Base south of the capital of Riyadh on Friday, and that 2 of the service members are seriously injured. The attack also damaged multiple U.S. refueling aircraft. It's the second missile strike at the airbase since the start of the war with Iran. It looks like the partial government shutdown will drag on for another 2 weeks. House Republicans passed a short-term bill late last night that would fund the Department of Homeland Security, ending the shutdown. The stopgap measure funds the entire DHS for 8 weeks, but still has to clear the Senate, which has just begun a 2-week recess. TSA employees working without pay could be seeing paychecks as soon as Monday. Here's Lisa Taylor.
President Trump on Friday directed the Department of Homeland Security to pay TSA agents even as other DHS staff go without pay during the government shutdown. He ordered payroll providers to process paychecks as expeditiously as possible.
The Hill says TSA officers will begin seeing paychecks as soon as Monday. You're listening to the latest on NBC News Radio.
This is Chicago's Progressive Talk, 820 AM, WCPT Willow Springs, and online at WCPT820.com, where facts matter.
You've been working hard all day and didn't have time to catch up on the news during work.
And that phone just wouldn't stop.
We've got you covered. Joan Esposito, live, local, and progressive.
We will fight as many places and as many times as it takes to get this power back.
Joan Esposito, afternoons from 2 to 5 p.m., WCPT 820.
Hey, it's the Paulacious One, coming to you from the file room of the basement of WCPT 820 in Chicago. Checking the file on the Sports Cubicle. The hosts, systems analyst Mike Mercado, project manager Devin Tingle, the marvelous one, Dan Marver in accounting, and me, well, it doesn't matter what I do. You can check us out, the Sports Cubicle, Sunday nights at 9 p.m. Central on WCPT 820 Chicago. Gotta go, Sports Cubicle, 9 p.m. Sundays, WCPT.
Dive deeper into the heart of the news and stories at WCPT 820 and across the Midwest by checking out our website, heartlandsignal.com.
It's the coverage I can count on every time.
For the latest news updates, in-depth analysis, compelling stories, comprehensive election coverage, live streams, and thought-provoking opinions, head to heartlandsignal.com.
When I need to know, they're there.
They keep me informed and updated wherever I am.
Stay informed with WCPT 820, your go-to source for where facts matter.
Alexa, play WCPT.
WCPT from TuneIn.
You're listening to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
I've had people walk out of me before, but not when I was being so charming.
Video streaming at halsparks.com.
I don't care for you or for the putrid sludge you're troweling out.
Puss-faced little pimp stick.
True progressive talk.
Might be a good time for you guys to give up.
So, just in case you were wondering how 5D chess works, I want to break this.
Did you 3D print a 5D
chessboard?
I think the 5th D is in Donald Trump's diaper.
Yeah, that's right. Dookie. Yeah.
It was not me this time.
That's right. Oh, my God. It's contagious. It's spreading. It's like the 28 days later of scatological humor. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, it's he plays 5 Dookie chess. Like he looks at a chessboard and completely craps his pants. That's not, honestly, considering what Noel Kassler has said about him, like that 3-syllable words make him do it. Dear God.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
He makes him clench up and but the O-ring is loose?
Yeah. He used to have these like weird little panics when he had like a lot of stuff to read in the thing, and he would loudly evacuate his bowels so much that everybody could hear it.
Do you buy those video clips where they show like, all right, now listen real close, and you'll hear like a... And then, like, people will react to
3 or 4 of them.
I've watched them live. I've found, like, 2 or 3 of them.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, classically, there's one on my channel.
I'm like Mulder. I've got posters on my wall I want to believe.
Yeah, right. It was, like, one of them was just brutally obvious. Like, he did a little twitch right as it happened. The people, like, recently, there was that one where he did...
Chicago is progressive talk.
There's one where I don't think he broke wind. I think he evacuated his bowels. And the woman behind him does the little nose cover with her thumb and index
see
finger.
That very often.
Yeah, where like it's like Jada Pinkett in The Clumps. If you'll remember when she's sitting at the table and she starts covering it, like, nobody can tell me how I can act at this table. Case in point, you know, like
Clumps.
Yeah. What do you think a colonic is? You think you take it by the car wash, right? That whole bit. She's just sitting there covering her nostrils, like trying to be polite.
I actually regret what I've brought to the show at this point.
This is your Christmas Carol. You're being
being visited.
You're being visited by the ghosts of scatological
humor.
Yeah. All right. So.
All right, my headphones are making me hot.
Oh, that's what's doing it. And by the way, the greatest thing about this is that Rob was pointing out how behind the feed is from us in the room. So it takes about 2 minutes for them to catch up to what we're saying in the chat room.
Are they catching on?
No, there'll be a moment where it'll start. You'll just see a bunch of ew. Right. We'll jump in. Okay, so Rob Glenn, thank you for being with us. You and I talk a lot about the AI stuff, but then sometimes we get on our own screed about politics as well, because we're obviously like Johnny and I, brothers from another mother in terms of this. Going forward, on a tactical, as an engineer, on a tactical, strategic, material level, do you see any situation where Trump could declare victory and just get out tomorrow?
Yeah, sure.
Really?
I don't think he will, but yeah, I mean, in the past...
Sorry, without massive death and blowback and the collapse of the Strait of Hormuz and the Iranians running it forever and charging a toll to every boat that goes through.
Victory and reality are two different things.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, so sure, he could declare victory, send there's 2 battle groups there now.
Yep.
So send the battle groups home.
3.
Yep. Make up a story about why he won. And then, the consequence would likely be that we would then have to pay a toll to get ships through the Strait of Hormuz.
Or that the Chinese are already doing it. They're already paying the Iranians to allow their ships through. Do you know that Donald Trump thinks that the 8 or 10 Pakistani flagged ships full of Iranian oil that left to go to China were a gift to him from Iran because they apparently were going to give him a gift, and then when that happened, he assumed that's what they were talking about, that they allowed some oil through. Instead of...
He's like that guy in the sitcom who's going like, I think they're planning a surprise party for me.
Right, yeah.
I think that's his problem, is that he has made up all these stories in his head.
Right.
And then there's the story of real life, reality, and he's literally trying to force them together somehow into some new reality.
By an act of will, or just BS. Literally try to BS them into existence. It's like the idiot's version of The Secret.
Yeah.
He's just trying to, like, if I say crazy stuff enough,
it will manifest.
The world will become crazy. And there's evidence to support that currently.
Yeah, so now he could get out, but he won't, because the stories he has are so incongruent. That he wants to say he won, but he can't say he lost.
Right. And the minute he leaves, the Iranians, while they still have a regime intact, will declare victory and say we drove away the great lion of whatever, and then they'll start attacking Israel at a pace because we're no longer there to attack.
And what's so wild is that we all know that he lies and lies and lies, but he has moments where he can't not. His filter's gone, so he's like, we were surprised at the size of their navy.
Right. Like, no, we weren't. Your generals knew exactly how many. This is the same as he's like, some people don't even know how many countries there are. Well, the president shouldn't, I guess.
When he was talking about bombing the minesweepers or whatever.
The mine droppers. Yeah, because they do it with a big, tincture bottle.
He had the aside, I was wondering why we didn't just take them.
Yeah, why don't we keep those boats?
Meant that.
Yes.
He literally meant that. He wanted Iranian mine dropper sitting in
we've gone from
the coast of the west coast.
Keep the oil to keep the boats.
Yeah, and then you would write Trump on it or something.
Well, I'll tell you one of the reasons why he thinks that specifically, why he fixated on a couple of them, because they have these smaller boats that are part of their navy that are actually yachts. They're the same design as these super yachts. They have this gap in the middle of them where speedboats can come in and you can take the boat out and go out through the center. And that's a design on a very popular yacht in the Middle East and all that. That's what he means. He wants those. He wants a yacht. He wants not that he's going to go out on one because he can't swim. So I don't know why, and he's scared of sharks. I
want a yacht.
Yeah, like, right. So that's, honest to God, he saw those boats. And that's why he wants to keep the boats. He doesn't care about the battleships, the ones that were sinking. He means those. And everybody else is like, yeah, it's not. People have done that since the 1600s. Really, we're fine on boats.
I don't believe we're going to take the stance of pillaging.
Yeah. Especially after what Tucker Carlson said about the other thing that often goes along with pillaging.
I would. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tucker Carlson is amazing to observe right now.
He's all over the place.
Everywhere.
Yeah. And I got to say, I have reservations about critiquing the man, as nutty and awful as he is, on my show, because he's a wind-up toy that is attacking the right.
Exactly. What are the art of war? I think it was like never interrupt your enemy when they're making a mistake.
Yes, exactly.
Just let them keep doing that thing.
Yes, that's one of the complaints some people have about Democrats in this moment when the Republicans are in turmoil in the House and the Senate and all this kind of stuff, and the people want some Democrats to kind of jump on them about it, when in reality it is doing far more damage to their electoral chances. Just going, hey, you guys run stuff now.
Yeah, who runs the House?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so.
Who
runs the Senate? Okay, yeah.
We presented bills because that's what we do. They're not getting through committee and they're not getting to the floor. And the ones we had under Pelosi weren't getting signed into legislation because Mitch McConnell ran on this idea that he was the...
And the ones that passed the House and the Senate without a supermajority are being vetoed by spite.
Right, yeah, exactly. And that he was the crypt keeper or whatever, that he would kill bills no matter what.
Like Colin Powell.
Yes, right. The ghost of Colin Powell is showing up with chains with yellow cake vials all over them. Yellow cake. Jacob Marley, hold this yellow cake. Burns my fingertips. Tariffs. So Israel has warned.
Potatoes.
Potatoes and chicken. This is good Lord. So
Johnny's your soundboard.
Yeah, yes. I don't have one with me, so. So this is the state of things. Let me before we go to break, I want to set us up for what the state of things are currently. That Trump sent his people, Witkoff and Jared and J.D. Vance, who was told to go home. Don't even bother coming here by the Iranians, which is their form of negotiation, according to Trump. They're just playing hard to get, like a woman in a dressing room at Bergdorf's, and that's his negotiating style. They are supposed to, they sent these 15 things. The Iranians sent these 5 back. And the Israelis have said that if there are any chances of a ceasefire, there will be, with the 48 hours before that ceasefire starts, we will bomb incessantly. We're not going to get another shot at this. And so whenever Trump says, the ceasefire will start Sunday, Friday and Saturday will become the biggest bombing. Like, Israel is just going to throw everything they have.
I don't like that at all.
Well, yeah. And there's a bunch of reasons why Trump's brain is incapable of processing the tactical and strategic reasons why they would do it in the first place, and why we didn't start this stuff with other presidents, because this is exactly what would have to happen. We got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Sparks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Tom Hartman.
Autocrats generally, particularly those autocrats who have narcissistic personality disorder and are sociopaths, as is, in my opinion, Trump, typically do not tolerate high-profile people around them. They want to be the star of the show, and that's certainly been the history of Donald Trump. The only people that he will tolerate around him are people who, when he says, kiss my ass, they fall to their knees.
The Tom Hartman Radio Program. Weekdays 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on WCPT 820, where facts matter.
When it comes to banking, you need a bank you can trust. A bank with a rock-solid reputation and the highest integrity. A bank that gives you the attention and respect you deserve.
ABOC first opened its doors in downtown Chicago in 1922. And we've made our name on deep expertise, best-in-class service, and a strong commitment to our customers. We know the Chicago business market inside and out and can help you craft the perfect banking solution, no matter what type of business you're in.
And if you're looking for a banking partner for your labor union, we can bring the type of expertise that only comes from a bank that was founded by labor unions and still has union employees and shareholders to this day.
Whether you need a deposit account, loan, trust services, or investment management, ABOC has you covered. Let's work together to manage your finances today while planning for a better tomorrow. ABOC, a bank built on a strong foundation.
Visit aboc.com to learn more. Member FDIC.
Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820, where facts matter.
This is Damian Perdue of Think Theory Radio, Saturdays at 6 p.m. You're listening to Hal Sparks' radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So the news as of yesterday was that we are, quote, sending in 10,000 more troops into the region after we'd sent in 25 and then followed that 2,500 and then sent that followed that up with 3,000, a little over 3,000, 3,200, I believe it was.
And where are they hanging?
Well, interestingly enough, there was this story about how to keep them out of the bases where they will be attacked, where we had 17 service members in the Middle East severely wounded yesterday from another attack in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. 2 were critical. And again, because we don't believe anything that the Trump administration says, we will probably more than likely find out that those people have perished and that the people that were marginally wounded were actually the critically wounded ones, and we will lose more as this goes on because, Trump shrugs off the deaths, wore a hat at the, the return at Dover.
Very classy.
His only, he started this one. He stopped going, to the dignified returns because in his first term, after the fourth one, after he did a specific action, I believe it was in Syria, and the parents of the service person who died yelled at him, and he stopped going. He started sending Pence.
I bet he hates that.
He definitely hates it. I mean, life outside the White House is like his visit to Graceland.
Yeah, and outside of Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, did you see his visit to Graceland? Any of it?
Went to Graceland?
It was glorious. In that, he had to stand there while someone else talked about someone else being really great.
Oh, he hates that.
Oh, yeah, he hates that. So he had the woman, he got the tour, and this woman was talking all about Elvis and all about how, he was an American institution.
He bought a house for his mother.
Right, all this kind of stuff. And he would just turn every so often to the cameras and go, she loves Elvis. People like Elvis. And he liked this place. He liked this house. This was his house. He lived here. He loved coming back here, huh? This is the place. Like, I don't want to find out this is the third house he had and he really stayed in the apartment in Vegas the most. That's what he's embarrassed by. It's pathetic. But anyways, the issue that we have right now is twofold materially. On the one hand, there is no material way that I can see that we can get out of Iran in the next couple of weeks that doesn't have enormous, violent, dangerous blowback. The Iranian regime is unrepentantly, talking about, going after a nuclear weapon again. They see it in many ways as their only lifeline.
Sure.
In the case, look at
proving it.
Yeah, look at why we haven't invaded North Korea a long time ago. Yeah. This is clearly their point was that we should have gotten this sooner. Is not the lesson they're going to take away from it. So they have to be gone for this threat to be gone. That becomes the mission now. Regime change has to be the mission because any remnant of the regime that is left, for their own security, tactically, they will need nuclear or biological weapons, something that they can blackmail their enemies with to stay alive. So there is no easy way out of this. If he declares victory and goes home, there is only one other way that he can do that, and that is after we leave, the Israelis continue. That we get them to this tipping point in the same way that we rode along with them and we did the B-2 bombers and then they hit the smaller sites with their planes. Yeah. That this is just a larger version of that exact same thing. And so any ceasefire will be a farce. Any agreement will be a farce. And our ships are not going to leave the region anytime soon. They're just going to pull out of range while the Israelis continue their strikes after we have hit the, whatever percentage of their missile launching capability or their drone capabilities that we think exists. Yeah. And again, at current count, Trump's like, we're destroying 90% of what they had because they're shooting 90% less. That's not the case. They are keeping their powder dry for all practical purposes. We have hit, by most estimations, a third of their capabilities. The rest are hidden underground or dispersed. Some of them might even be across borders into other countries they have relationships with, basically hidden in the safety of another country. They have fellow travelers and they can put some of this stuff on ships and just send it away. They may have done that early on. They may have done it through, running it across country just so they can have it. And then they'll bring it back in once stuff has stopped. The same thing could be true of their nuclear material. All of their nuclear material, I got news for you, could be in Pakistan right now. Yeah. They housed Osama bin Laden, and they didn't tell us for a long time. And until we knew it for sure and rattled their cage, they didn't let us know. And Pakistan is a partner of Iran's. Period. End of story. Largely because they are between, in terms of economics and fuel between Iran and China, and have a tangential relationship with Russia. So, and Pakistan's in its own, dust up with the Taliban right now, which, great work if you can get it. But the point of this is we've got the White House and the Pentagon are considering sending at least 10,000 more combat troops because we are as Donald Trump says, what if I was going to do boots on the ground, why would I tell you?
Yeah.
This is the next big issue. There is no way I can see that we can guarantee they don't have nuclear materials without boots on the ground, ours or Israel's or both, or ours guarding IAEA personnel after we have. Yeah, it's hard. That's it. Like, I use the old McDonald system of doing it. That's really the only way that the international community would be satisfied that they don't have it. Yeah. It'd certainly be the only thing that they could use as a cudgel to make sure Israel doesn't continue to claim that they have it when they don't, right? You want that verification process. It's exactly what we had before we got rid of it. So that would be the only way. I guess you get IAEA inspectors surrounded by U.S., Israeli, or even coalition troops. We talk some other people into going, look, you're not protecting us. You're not joining us in the war. You're just protecting the inspectors for this part of it in case there are any IRGC guys that decide that they're still on mission one, which they are, by the way. So the other issue with this, and I don't see how this isn't at play currently, is that there is a head of the snake fallback plan that almost every country has, including ours, that if the administration, the leadership, is decapitated in a strike by another country, then there's Plan C, effectively. And Plan C is everybody's got your battle plan, just do it. Wow. Whether it's a nuclear launch or, in the case of, we have a strategic nuclear position where if the White House was taken out and the Capitol was taken out, all these missiles are just set to launch. There's a similar kind of thing in almost all these countries based on the fights they have with their neighbors, the bigger fights they have with the outside world, that if something happens to the Ayatollah, and then something happens to the Ayatollah's son, it's all bets are off now. IRGC commanders, you have your marching orders. If you die, that goes to the next guy. The next guy has the instructions. The instructions are you hit these targets until those targets don't exist anymore. And that seems to be part of why they're bombing Riyadh and, places in Saudi Arabia, places in Kuwait, certainly Israel, obviously our bases. But the other reason is, why are they hitting some of these hotels? Why wouldn't you hit the energy infrastructure? Yeah. Well, because the story is we are bringing troops into the area, these 5,000 plus that we already have coming in, and this extra 10,000.
We're putting them up at hotels.
We are putting them up at hotels. We're putting them in hotels because we don't want people technically to be aware that we are positioning ground troops to invade either the eastern side of the Strait of Hormuz, which is more than likely what they're really talking about, to take out all that area so that they can't use these speedboats as mine droppers.
So how can they tell it's the military in the hotels, like their pay-per-view, what they're choosing?
What they're getting? Yeah, right. Yeah. Why does this movie cost a lot more than that movie? Americans. Yeah, right. That's how they get you. Why are the adult movies $17.50 and the blockbusters are $5?
I'm only going to watch it.
That's how they found all of our troops, right? So, but for real, this is one of the reasons why they are striking hotels, which seem like abstract, targets if you don't know that we're positioning them, which includes the President of the United States, who does not seem to know this. He does not, and I'm torn about this too. I don't know how much I want him aware.
Right.
Of the battle plans. He will blather it.
He'll say it immediately. He's done it every time.
Yep. He'll get our people killed. It's brutal. So the reality that we're up against with this is that there is no out but through in this circumstance. Yeah. Certainly for Israel. Because think all you want, and I think we all cumulatively despise Benjamin Netanyahu and his supporters in the Israeli military and in the government. I have no sympathy for him whatsoever. But Israel is a country, on a tactical level, no matter who you are, once the President of the United States starts something like this, you have a target on your back forever, on a scale you never had before. So if we're not going to do regime change, you are. The Israelis do not have a choice right now. If anybody called somebody's bluff and forced their position, to go after the regime and end it once and for all. It was not Israel to the United States. It was the other way around. That Donald Trump's abject misunderstanding of the depth of conflict in this arena has set Israel up for total annihilation if this regime stays in place. And they have to know it. Yeah. The Israelis have to know it. And so even good people in that government would be hard-pressed not to argue that we have to eliminate the entire regime of this. If we're going to start this, we got to finish it, because a wounded bear is more dangerous than a dead one. And this is the position that we have put them in. Even if it's hubris on their part to join with us, or this nonsense Marco Rubio was selling that they were doing this before, they were going to go in, so we had to go in first because we were going to get struck because they did things, which is just absurd.
Let me put this out there right now. Take a better look at Marco Rubio's ears.
Is he a clone?
No, I never noticed this. He somebody was filming them for something, and he took them aside and said, be sure to film me from this side and not that side, because the ear pinning worked better on that side. And they used to call me like whatever Spanish is for like
big ear, Dumbo.
Ears. Yeah.
Right.
And I'd never clocked it before, and then I saw a picture of him, and I was like, oh my God.
He had plastic surgery to pin his ears back to make himself more presidential.
Yeah, but it didn't take.
Well, it's like Mike Huckabee and Pompeo's stomach stapling.
Yeah.
Right? That was the...
He needs the magnets that they put on your nose to open it up. Just put magnets on it.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah.
Just and then if you need ears behind your head.
And then if you need to hear really well, you can just pop them off like that. Yeah, just bring them forward. Because the vanity stuff for running for president is pretty spectacular. Right? Yeah. I'm looking forward to mine. Most of mine will be depilatory.
What'd you say?
just completely shorn from the neck down. So
he's really into lasers.
Yeah, right. So I feel streamlined and built for speed is, I think, the line from Jiminy Glick and Lollywood.
Like a dolphin.
Yeah. Stargal is saying Iran is a country too. That's exactly right. And this is the issue. If you push people into a situation where their only reaction, I've gone over the break, but we got to take a break. If you push them into this situation, they will only have 2 possible or 3 possible responses, and you can force their chess into checkers. And that's what I think our generals are trying to do to Trump right now, so that he can either get out, lay it off on Israel, they can pick up the slack, and we can just feed them arms and basically Ukraine this thing, turn Iran into Russia, turn Israel into Ukraine, and step back and go, we're just giving them all the arms and this isn't about us. Yeah. And we'll talk them out of it later. We'll be back right after this. It's the House Parks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
You know that you can listen to Chicago's Progressive Talk on WCPT AM 820. Stream us live at WCPT820.com and on the TuneIn Radio app. Or you can ask Alexa, Siri, or Google to play WCPT from TuneIn. But now you have another option. We're simulcasting our programming overnights, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. on WSBC AM 1240 for a clearer reception in and around the city. Chicago's Progressive Talk, WCPT 820. And now overnights on WSBC 1240 AM, where facts matter.
This is a WCPT moment in labor. On March 25th, 1911, in Manhattan, a fire at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory killed 146 workers, who were mostly women. The victims of the fire were unable to leave the burning high-rise building due to the exits being locked and were forced to leap to their deaths from the 8th, 9th, and 10th floors. Locking doors was a common practice to reduce theft and unauthorized breaks at workplaces. As a result of the fire, the New York State Legislature formed the Factory Investigating Commission, whose findings led to 38 new laws regulating labor. Some of the new laws mandated better egress, the installation of better alarm and sprinkler systems, and increased availability of fire extinguishers. Coincidentally, the American Society of Safety Professionals was formed, which now manages, researches, and consults occupational safety and health across 75 countries. This has been a WCPT Moment in Labor. We are working for your rights.
Because facts matter. You're listening to WCPT 820.
Welcome back to the Hal Sparks radio program, Mega Worldwide.
So I don't want you guys to worry that we're sending 10,000 troops in and possibly 2 or 3 allocations of 10,000 troops at this point. Like, it'll just be, we'll start stacking people, and he'll be building up ground troops as a threat in the same way that we build up the Armada as a threat. That he's sending these carrier strike groups, and I'm just negotiating, but I'm negotiating from a position of strength, even though he never intended to go through with the negotiations, and this was always an attack plan, not a negotiating tactic. Yeah. Same thing is true of the ground troops, I believe. But according to, I think it's the Wall Street Journal, the Pentagon is developing military options for, quote, a final blow in Iran that would include the use of ground forces and a massive bombing campaign.
That seems really short-sighted.
As short-sighted as voting for Trump in the first place. See how I brought it back home?
Yeah.
Because I have to say,
it won't affect me.
Right. I have to say to the maggot-tree, the maggot adjacent out there, we told you he was going to do this. Yeah. We listened to him, and we could tell the difference between the stuff he was obviously lying to you about and other stuff that where he was being overt in what he was going to do. For example, he was going to get us out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength. Yeah. He just wasn't going to do it during his term. He just punted it to the next term, which you're supposed to believe he would have done it then.
And he's keeping the airport.
Right. But he's going to keep Bagram, the biggest base in the Middle East, which is in ISIS-K controlled territory, where our troops would have to be resupplied and survive in an area like that, with a 90-minute drive down a 2-lane road in the middle of uncovered ground in effectively a kill-box valley. By the way, this is how he also wanted to evacuate people from the country. Instead of taking them 4 blocks from the building to the airport, he wanted them driven out to Bagram to fly out on a 2-lane road with no cover in ISIS-K controlled territory.
I saw Iron Man.
Right, yeah. Doesn't work out really well. Yeah, the what is it, the Humdrumvee?
Yeah.
Right. So he was going to get us out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength, but keep Bagram, the biggest military base there, in hostile territory in perpetuity forever. And again, for all these people complaining on that side that why do we have all these military bases in all of these countries, which was part of their gripe because it's expensive and why do we need it and that kind of stuff. They apparently just that one just flew through one of the Swiss cheese holes in their brains, right through their prefrontal cortex and this, whatever the pilfering that the bacteria did, or the brain worm that RFK Jr. had that spread, because he made out with every maggot adjacent woman as he was running for office and spread that worm through everybody. That apparently you guys missed that one.
Yeah.
That he was going to leave and stay. And that applied to everything else. And that peace through strength means a show of strength to him, not just having it. And he does not believe in an ounce of prevention in any circumstance. And it ain't his money.
Yep.
If he's playing with the house's money, he does not care.
Unless it involves helping the American people.
Well,
then he's very tight with the purse strings.
Right. Well, or unless he's buying your votes, which is I gave $12 billion to the farmers and they should be very happy, meaning he thinks he's buying a bunch of redneck votes in the heartland.
I don't think that worked.
I don't think it's going to work either.
Yeah.
And the presumption is from Donald Trump and those around him who somehow believe that there's an elite that control the world, that, is a club that they're not in, and Donald Trump is finally their voice, have not realized yet that he believes himself to be elite. Look at how he talks about his genetics. Look at how he talks about his uncle who was at MIT as if
high IQ.
Right. And how other people are low IQ people from other countries and the like. And how he has such disdain. I'll give you a great example. So when Donald Trump met with fundraisers and those kind of people, Mar-a-Lago, he's on a little step-up stage, okay? He's a little 2 steps. When he spoke at one of these bigger group gatherings of the Saudis and all this stuff, it was your standard 4-foot stage. average, right? They're sitting at chairs and tables, that kind of stuff. When the farmers came to the White House, he stood on the balcony like a Vita. He spoke to them from on high. He is not. He can't.
He didn't want them to touch him.
No, he thinks they're riffraff. He's a germaphobe, and part of that isn't. And by the way, you'll notice he's not a germaphobe when it comes to the Stormy Daniels moments of his life. Yeah. He's not a germaphobe when it means attacking a rich woman in a wealthy store or something. He's a germaphobe about poor people. Do you remember that? Did you see the Sean Combs documentary? I don't call him by his silly little nickname.
I haven't seen it.
Okay, the 50 Cent one. Have you seen it, Rob?
No.
I've heard that he comes out smelling like a rose.
He does, absolutely. Axl Rose after a binge.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's a lot of great stuff in it. And obviously 50 Cent got access to all of this footage that he was filming of himself.
The long con that 50 Cent played.
Okay, yeah, to get all that stuff in it.
How did he? The person filming that must have known.
No, well, Sean Combs was filming that stuff for himself, and then he didn't pay the guy. So 50 Cent just rolled in and went, "I'll pay you for it," and he got all the footage. And apparently, Sean Combs didn't think to sign a contract with this guy that this is for my use and you can't have it for your personal use, which is just like, while he's yelling at all of his lawyers about his legal problems, you'd think that might have crossed his mind, but obviously he was it's Peter principle, and he was screwing up his way upward. He's obviously not the best rapper, the best dancer, the best looking guy, the best whatever. He managed to just manipulate and cajole and threaten his way to the top, because that's how that system ran. And if that's how your structure is established, then that's who's going to win and get to the top of it. That said, there was a scene where he's out on the street and he's meeting, like some people walk up and go, "Oh my God," and they want to shake hands with him. And after he gets in the car, he's like slathering hand sanitizer all over his hands because ew, gross.
Yeah.
And now most of us, I think, post-COVID, there's an attitude where, I can see a lot of people, or if you're glad handing a bunch of people out of nowhere, you might do that anyways, but you wouldn't do it with any disdain. You just do it as a natural perfunctory act. But you'd also do it consistently.
Right.
You would do it wherever you go. You would do it if you're ever shaking hands with 5 people at a business meeting, you do the exact same thing, right? But he didn't.
No.
It was very specific to, ew, my fans. And Donald Trump is the exact same way. He loves talking about his front row Joes, because the front row Joes not only define them as people who show up for him every time, but they're always over there. They can stay right over there. There's no meet and greets. These people don't get to go up and get a Mar-a-Lago picture with him. All those thumbs up pictures, those are people who bought $100,000 worth of Trump coin, or are members of Mar-a-Lago or guests of Mar-a-Lago. That is the very definition of elite behavior. Yeah. And the illusion of elite behavior, because I got to tell you, like the woman I played earlier, who's on one of his defense advisors, who thinks he's playing 5D chess, called him a genius multiple times in that interview.
Ew.
And who else was? Oh, Glenn Beck referred to him as a genius yesterday morning on his show, like with such vigor, you have to understand, Donald Trump is a genius. And
what does he think he's going to get out of that?
That's the thing. I don't think anything. I think that just tells us how stupid Glenn Beck is.
Wow.
Do you imagine how dumb you would have to be to talk to Donald Trump and think, oh my God, this guy's a genius?
Yeah.
That's more reflective, the fool who follows him kind of a moment. But good Lord, and when they're all in on this cultishness, it's not just that they buy into the mythology, but they buy into his value as an elite.
Yeah.
They view him as elite. Genius is an elite quality. They insist.
Look at the AI art that they create about him.
Oh, I mean, it explains. It explains why all the crucifixes of Jesus have abs. You know what I mean? There's a tendency in that when people try to recreate you. It's one of the reasons why the no graven images thing happened is because a lot of the royalty, whether it was, it's why no drawings of Muhammad, because there were several Muhammads running around. It was a relatively common name, and some guys might have claimed it. And then if you draw a picture of him, you're like, wait a minute, like a wanted poster with
this guy?
Like, that's not Muhammad. This is Muhammad, right?
Yeah.
That's what caused the problem. Like, nobody draws a picture.
Yeah.
Right? And they all the different Muhammads agreed on it at the time, so they could kind of like, this dude's everywhere at once. It must be magic. And like, okay. If you can't draw a picture of him, like, it's really easy to be everywhere at once, you know. I thought he was shorter, right? Like that kind of thing. The same thing with Jesus being sort of a composite of messiahs at the time. There were several guys walking around claiming they were, and
that just hit me. That's how Phil Collins was everywhere at once during Live Aid.
That's true. Yeah, it was him and his spitting image doll from the Land of Confusion video. They would just split time between all of them, which is, by the way, one of my son's favorite songs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he loves the video and he loves the song. It just kind of, like, it was one of those songs like I was trying to
wild grab.
Yeah, well, it's one of the things I started, like, I had a playlist of stuff and he was listening in the car and it just hooked, right?
I love that.
Yeah, and it's definitely one of the heavier ones. It's why Disturbed covered it. But anyway, so and by the way, I like Phil Collins.
Yeah.
And I got nothing against Nickelback. And let me tell you something, folks. Let me tell you something. If you tell me you hate Donald Trump and you hate what he's doing to this country, but you've also told me you hate Nickelback, I question your ability to hate.
Yeah.
You got to start having some actual standards.
I listened to Nickelback's new single the other day. It's fine.
It's absolutely their music.
Yep.
My thing has always been like, exactly what Elvis Costello song are you expecting them to cover?
Yeah.
Right? Which, you know what I mean? Which Kate Bush song are they supposed to do an acoustic cover of?
Yeah.
They're a Canadian rock band, and that alone makes them okay.
Yeah.
I got news for you. Canadian rock bands get a pass. They are so shortchanged in the world.
Yes.
Rush, Triumph. Come on.
Bryan Adams.
You know, Phil X is touring with Triumph.
now, yeah.
And so is our dear friend Todd Kearns.
Yeah.
Who we love. And talk about Canadian rock stars.
Yep.
Anyways, I get sidetracked because we need to, just for our own mental health.
We got to go on break.
Yeah, we got to take a break. We'll be back right after this. It's the Houseworks Radio program, Mega Worldwide.
Choose Views with Richard Chew.
Right now, what we definitely have to agree on is that we have to stay connected and we have to fight forward together. My life's work has proven to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that when we do come together and we fight together to move forward rather than fighting against each other, that we get stuff done. And it sticks and it's lasting.
Richard Chew, weekday mornings at 6 on WCPT 820.
Find power and prestige in a brand new Porsche from the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park. Browse and test drive our extensive selection, like the 2026 Porsche Macan Electric. Right now, lease the 2026 Macan Electric for only $1049 a month for 39 months. Discover performance like no other when you visit the Porsche Exchange in Highland Park or PorscheExchange.com. $9,989 with sign up for qualified buyers. Excludes tax, title, license, and doc fee. No security deposit required. Expires 3/31/26.
Hey Google, play WCPT.
Streaming Chicago's progressive talk from TuneIn.
I am happy, you are happy, let us be happy together, whether the weather is cloudy or sunny. I will always be your funny honey bunny. I am lucky, you are lucky, let us get lucky together, whether the weather is cloudy or breezy. I'll be there to say, hey, come on, let's take it easy. 'Cause isn't it nice to have the friends that you do? And isn't it nice that the sky is so blue? And isn't it nice to say I love you, chugga chugga choo choo, woo woo. I am smiling, you are smiling, let us smile together, whether the weather is cloudy or stormy. I will still be there in the morning, I'll be right by your side in the morning. I'll make you breakfast in the morning, I hope that you like cereal.
Yay! Beloved Kate McCucci from Garfunkel and Oates.
Seriously, what a voice.
Yeah, and she did that in studio here.
Right here?
This was live. Yeah,
Where was she sitting?
We were actually in the studio, like one room over that one. Remember?
Yeah.
But yeah, she was here, in the space with us. I think that might have been.
For you haters out there, go listen to "The Loophole" by Garfunkel and Oates.
Yeah. I don't know that they have any haters though. I mean,
people really are down on that song in the chat.
Again.
Let's examine your hate.
Yeah.
If they're down in the happy zone?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
If they, those, again, work something out, because I do think that you should, let me tell you something. I did the no hate campaign years ago, did the picture and all that when that was first coming out. And I had, they were like, we were trying to come up with something for, you put a piece of duct tape across your mouth and then they would tape it on your thing, whatever. And I picked up a knife they had in the studio, and I was cutting open my duct tape in the shot. That's what that was. And so that was my own kind of take on it. And my joke after doing that for a while when I was touring as a stand-up was like, I just did the no hate campaign and it was very proud to do it, but I got to tell you, some hate. Some hate. Yeah. I just saying, pick your battles, but obviously, as a well-rounded human being, I reserve the right to hate. In very strategic, what they meant was, is generic bigoted hate, and generic hate in general, which reflects more on the person than the actual thing that they hate on. And that's why I was like, when we're
the hate speech that's been legislated,
right? Yes, that which is meaningful and speaks to when somebody commits a violent act against a minority group or a person because of their race, their creed, their color, their country of origin, any of those kind of things, means that they will continue to do it even if they're let out. It wasn't a one-off.
Right.
They will keep trying to do it.
It wasn't just their mom.
Yeah, right. It wasn't just a thing. It wasn't. Yeah.
I really think he just wanted to kill his mother. As far as I can tell, he's got no other moms out there to kill.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's done.
Yeah, let's parole him.
Yeah. Which I think is arguably how Kemper had a body count, but whatever. Point being is that I'm very proud of the hate that I have because it's very laser focused. I don't and it makes you much more easygoing because for me to hate something, it's really got a chart.
It has crossed the threshold.
Yeah, and that threshold is very high.
Yeah.
And I think that's why, I've said for a long time, if you're ever confronted with a choice you believe is the lesser of two evils, choose less evil, because that's not reflective of the circumstance. That's reflective of you.
Yeah, that's selfishness.
Yeah, that's you not being an adult in that circumstance. And you
to go pout tomorrow after you vote for less evil.
Yeah.
Say that you wish you didn't have to.
Right.
But do it effing anyway.
Yeah, right. Because if it matters to you, like you say it does, then you make the active choice.
If you tell me later that you couldn't vote for anybody because you didn't like any of the candidates,
I know you don't really care about everything you complain about at all.
Yep.
Because you're not willing to move the ball unless it's a spike.
Yep.
Unless it's, and that's the TYT thing. If we don't get everything, nobody gets anything.
Incremental change is change. Just watch what the Republicans have been doing.
That's how they got the SCOTUS. It's how they got the SCOTUS.
Yeah.
And if you want the SCOTUS back, that's how it's going to be done. There is no other way to do it.
There's no revolution to get the SCOTUS
you're
back.
You're not going to bring out everybody on the SCOTUS and a bunch of guillotines, and it's not happening. It isn't. And if it could happen, you wouldn't want it to, but because it would mean that your country and your environment and your neighborhood and your town would have decayed into such violence and sectarian feuding. And again, I remind everybody that in the French Revolution, 70% of the people that were killed were poor. They killed royals, but they also killed everybody else they had a problem with.
Yeah.
They would it became like the witch trials.
Yeah,
right.
Who else? Let's do this. Spin the wheel of death.
When it comes to hate, ladies and gentlemen, keep your powder dry.
Yeah.
So that when you say, I hate Donald Trump, I hate what he's doing to the country, it has some meaning. And somebody go, yeah, but you hate flock of seagulls too. Right. So what does that mean? You hate. I don't know. You hate Al Gore for not putting out his movie sooner. I don't know. Those kind of things. Like, if that's your standard, then your category of hate is just too wide. Mm-hmm. My point is that if you're going to talk about action and fighting and winning and doing things and making actual change, then you got to be more selective in what your target is, or you're not going to make any progress. What you're going to do is spin your wheels, and Republicans are going to count on you to shoot yourself in the foot every single cycle.
And they'll find that button and they'll press it.
Oh yeah, and they'll do it on a cycle.
Yeah, I hear these people hate Teddy Ruxpin.
Right. Well,
and then
great
find
example.
you found my laser right now.
Yeah, you put a thrash cassette into Teddy Ruxpin. You will change your mind.
Right, you're right. You actually will.
Seek and destroy.
Right. This is my favorite toy ever.
Wait, let me pull his eyes.
So, in that point, getting us to the No Kings rally, which I hope everybody that's listening to the sound of my voice is going to. Yep, we'll be there. If go to these things, but this isn't the beginning or the middle or the end. This is you activating. There is no arc to this. There is no...
It's sustained.
It's a sustained effort, and it has to be a sustained effort because I got bad news for all the revolutionaries out there and the people crying for fighters. All real progress is incremental. Every foundation is laid, like layer by layer if it is meant to stay.
Yep.
If it's going to keep, if it's going to withstand, if our institutions will stand, they require institutional focus from the very people that value them. So everything you're upset about, all the norms that have been thrown out the window, the reason they've been thrown out the window is because revolutionaries on the other side have decided that you don't care enough about it. You really don't. If they upset you about one or two things, or they think you're going to fall for the purity test idea, you're going to stay home.
Yep.
They're counting on it. And that's why magotry has gone off the rails in a bunch of what I would consider red districts. Red districts and blue districts used to be a lot more purple. But in certain areas, they got very red and very purple. Is it because the people in those areas shifted right? Do you think all the Democrats in those areas shifted right, or the Republicans in those areas shifted left?
No, they were convinced Bernie or nothing.
Right. And they stayed home. Yep. If it wasn't going to be... If I can't turn this over, if I can't change this district, why bother voting?
Right.
I'm not going to, my vote won't count. Well, your vote counts in those areas, I would argue, more than anywhere else, because you have the ability to put the fear of the public into your elected representatives, and they can look at these numbers and go, you know what? I used to win this district 60-30. Now it's closer to 50-50, and I really had to work for it. So I might have to start talking to people on the other side of this, or I'm going to get kicked out next time.
What if I read the room?
Right. I can't be a full-bore maggot in this situation anymore. I've got to be a lot closer to the center and listen to the other side and start implementing some of what they're saying, or they're going to boot me and replace me with somebody that does, because they've got the numbers. Democrats have the numbers all across this country. And I'm convinced there are dozens of red districts, crucial red districts, House seats and areas that would define the Senate vote in a lot of states that have been red only because Democrats have been convinced they're red for good, and what difference does it make, and they stay home.
It has to be true.
Yep. And if they knew three doors down from them there was somebody who would vote blue but is thinking the exact same thing, and 3 doors down from them again, and if they knew how connected they were.
It's 3 doors down for you.
Well, I'm just rubbing that thing in about the whole White House, like when he had him play the inauguration.
Yeah,
you know
that
what I
was
mean?
weird.
I'm trying to bring him back for good.
Did that guy die? That was a different band.
Yeah, I don't know.
Brain tumor guy.
Oh, yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
It's been a few of those. Yeah. Whatever. My cousin was in a band called 2 Doors Down. Boy, were they mad.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah, and then 3 Doors Down got popular.
What about Poor Nickel Creek?
And they were like, we're closer. We're right next door, sort of. Right. Yeah, Nickel Creek.
Poor Nickel Creek, they completely dismissed, and they didn't even get to play a note.
Right.
No, we are a badass bluegrass band. We are not who you think we are.
Right, yeah. We're not in a giant stadium. Yeah. We don't have fire pots. Come on. So that is a crucial part of this. And that's, if anybody takes anything from the No Kings rally, is that no kings means no pawns. And what we as responsible members of the electorate have to recognize is the power that we have of the ballot, and that anytime you take that for granted and don't show up and vote your conscience on who can get elected in this. I mean, no throwaway votes. There is no such thing as a protest vote. It is a protest vote is the biggest act of, you want to use a modern term, privilege that exists on the planet.
Yeah.
That if you
because this will not affect me, so I am going to vote for this guy down the street.
Right.
That told me that he's running. Write me in.
Yeah.
And,
or Jill Stein or what have you. Like if you do that, that is an act of privilege.
Yep.
That is you saying
it won't affect me.
Right. I don't have to choose the best side that has the chance for winning.
But I'm sending a message.
That's right. I'm sending a message that I'm disgruntled. Okay, tell you what. You're allowed. I'm giving everybody permission to be disgruntled and vote their conscience and all this stuff. When we have 60% of the Senate and the House, you can start pairing votes. You can start primarying. You can really push for, refining who's in there within that measure, because the rest, that means that those areas, those Senate areas, the half that state or all that state, are convinced that the Democratic way is the way to go, and they just might be open to a more, advanced version of that.
And go check out a No Kings rally.
Yes, do that.
Go see how similar those people are to you. Go see how different they are from you.
That's right.
That they're not going to be who you thought they were.
That's right. That there's not a uniformity of thought even there. And I am up to here with the crust thinking it's the pizza kids. I'm up to here, and you can look at how the MAGA tree is desperately afraid of these midterms, because they are afraid that what will happen to them is what has been happening to Democrats for the last half a decade, or last 9-10 years, actually. That people aren't willing to just vote their conscience within what can actually happen.
I see this as an allegory for the Bears-Packers rivalry.
Yeah?
The Bears have taken it over, and it's going to be really dark times for Packer fans for a long time to come.
Mm-hmm. Dun, dun, dun. I was sold. I liked it. I thought it brought it home.
Yeah.
I thought you did a great job today.
Thank you.
I think you were slacking on your scatological references, and it was sad that Rob and I had to pick up the slack.
I think I kind of stepped it up with hook finger.
Yeah, that's next level.
That was strong. It wasn't pervasive.
That's right. Yeah, but you're right.
It was laser focused.
You're right. Yeah, we're over here getting base hits, and you're hitting homers in your Orioles shirt. We'll see you next time. We'll see everybody at the No Kings rally. Thank you guys, and thank everybody in the chat room for your support. Patreon.com/Hal Sparks. We'll see you next time.
Phil is fine.
Yes, Phil is good.
You're listening to WCPT 820, Chicago's progressive talk station, where facts matter and truth always wins. Stay informed, stay engaged.
NBC News Radio, I'm Lisa Carton. Thousands of No Kings protests are underway across the country and around the world. Organizers predict the demonstration against President Trump's policies will be the single largest nonviolent day of action in American history. Today's No Kings marches are planned in all 50 states with huge crowds.